the one chess software that you need in 2025 is 25% off just for today. I'm Grandmaster Max Lingworth, and I will share with you the resource that will allow you to save a lot of time and a lot of money with your chess training. It's like the Swiss Army knife that many, in fact, all pretty much chess grandmasters use in their chess training. And I'll show you a bit about how the program works and some of the different features and to help you make the best decision for yourself. You see, in 2025, the difference between casual players and serious improvers is not just in the amount of time they spend in chess, but also how they study and the tools that they use in order to get the results and the improvement much faster. And when you're trying to piece together different online tools, it can definitely be hard to keep things organized and to keep that structure in our chess training. Whereas this just allows you to have your reference database, your personal databases, and so forth, and your various analyses all within the one place. And just so you know, I don't get any affiliate commissions from promoting this ChessBase program, ChessBase 2026. I'm sharing it with you because I believe in it, because there is this offer available, and I want to make sure for those who are either on the fence or who are looking to take your chess improve to the next level with the right tools, that you're able to do it and jump on the opportunity before the price goes up from the ChessBase team. So with that, to basically break down what we'll be covering in this video, I'll be sharing with you exactly how ChessBase 26 works, sharing with you sort of the basic features for those who may be new to database software, and also some of the new features that are a bit different from older ChessBase versions for those of you who already have ChessBase but are looking for what the differences are with this one. I'll also be sharing with you the different databases that come with the different packages, things like Mega Database and how that fits in as a great reference database. Also, correspondence database for those really high-level correspondence games. They're often at the forefront of chess opening theory. And then also the ChessBase magazine that gives you that ongoing training every couple of months. So I'll explain all of that so you can see how it all fits together. And then you can decide for yourself based on where you stand which sort of ones are going to be more useful for you in that respect. And if you're enjoying this video, do make sure to like the vid and also subscribe to the channel. I have plenty of more simple chess improvement content coming up in the coming days and weeks, and you're definitely going to want to see that if you want to improve your chess more quickly and also enjoy the process more as well on that journey to personal growth. So with that being said, let's start with the ChessBase program itself. So basically, I've really kept it kind of bare bones because normally on my ChessBase I have all these different databases all over the place and it can be a bit confusing. So basically, if I just create a game window, that might be the easiest way to show you some of the features here. So here we have an example of what the game window looks like when you create a new board. And obviously, there are a lot of different features, but the idea is that you can basically make different moves on the board. You can save all the different variations, and then you can save it to a database or to a game, and that will allow you to, basically have all those records of your analysis. Obviously, you can also add different features. For example, you can analyze with various change engines. Like, for instance, if I just take a version of Stockfish just as an example here, you'll see that load up, and that will just allow you to analyze a lot more powerfully. I'm just going to reduce the number of CPUs down to 3, just so that it doesn't overload the computer. There's also a little trick when you are creating the engine in ChessBase. You may like to set the priority below normal. That will stop the program freezing. There's just some best practice to help you to make most of the program. And if you're wondering, well, what's different about this compared to, say, using a lead chess study and doing the analysis on there with Stockfish or somewhere else. So what I'll say, it is sort of worth mentioning off the bat that if you're rated below 1600, you probably don't need a program like ChessBase. You're going to have plenty of ways to kind of improve using some free resource out there like lead chess studies and puzzle sets like on leadchess or chess.com. And if you're rated below 2000, then certainly having ChessBase will make things a lot easier and a lot faster for you. But technically speaking, if you really try hard, you probably could use some free tools like qchess.net along with the lead chess studies. And with those, you could probably get to like a 2000 level without using ChessBase. It definitely would take longer and be sort of slower and a bit more painful, but in theory you could kind of do it. But certainly when you get to that 2000 plus, like you just need to have a top level program with the reference database of like high quality games, and this is what's going to allow you to have that more so than any of the possible alternatives. But if you look at the bottom right hand side, you might notice how we have this live book where basically it's showing much deeper analysis. It's not really showing the full story here because it's prioritizing the Fritz program that our ChessBase sell. Personally, I wouldn't really bother getting the Fritz program. I just get like the Stockfish engine, just download online for free. It's very easy to create UCI engine. Just I think they might have changed the name of it and how it works here, but basically, yeah, you just kind of can create the engine pretty easily within ChessBase and just have Stockfish for free because Stockfish is the best chess engine analyzer in the world. You don't really need anything else for that. But let's say if I play a few moves, like let's just say I put a Queen's Gambit decline on the board, you can sort of see. Okay, I might have to play a few more moves to kind of demonstrate what I'm trying to show you here. But if we go a little bit deeper, to the point where we're not just seeing all these, these fat Fritz analyses over and over again. Say we take the mainline Carlsbad. Um, Eventually, what you're going to kind of see is, yeah, some really high quality analyses. Like we're seeing now that there's analysis of a depth of 62 from Stockfish 17.1. Whereas you can see by contrast here that my Stockfish only got to depth 17. It's saying that white is slightly better, plus 0.51 to be precise, but that it's analyzed a lot more deeply in the cloud engine, and it's actually got an assessment just 0.29. It's only a tiny bit better for white, not like a really nice advantage. And so that's an example of how chess can be a lot more powerful. Because if you're analyzing with weaker engines, it'll often give you inaccurate conclusions based on much lower depth. So it just gives you much more precise information to make sure that you are drawing the right conclusions from different positions, different games, and so forth. So hopefully that kind of explains a little bit of the difference. I'm not going to go too into detail, but just to kind of show you like why you are going to have much more accurate analysis, information, and learning when you do use ChessBase compared to some other resources that are out there on the market or that are available for free as such. And yeah, you can add different commentary, like for example, yeah, you can add an exclamation mark. I'm kind of using a few shortcuts. We can write different explanations, just to give an example, just so you kind of see how it looks like all of this gets saved. You just press Control S. I'm just gonna save it a PGN download just for convenience, but yeah, I'm just gonna save this as like example game. And yeah, you'll be able to access it very easily in the database you saved it into. And speaking of that, it's probably a good moment to kind of get a little bit into some of the ways in which you can use the databases, like how you can organize it to make it easy and convenient for yourself. There are some other different features, like within the searches, that I will kind of get to a little bit more deeply. Like I'm just kind of showing you some of the different tabs, just so you can kind of get a feel for some of the different features. Obviously there's different ones you can click here to, for example, try to predict the moves rather than just seeing them on the board if you want to train it more precisely. Or you can also click things, yeah, like the Plan Explorer, which helps you to figure out what the different plans are in the position. Yeah, I can see a few examples there. Obviously, yeah, will be more reliable as you kind of go deeper into it, but yeah, it can at least give you some insights to work with, as it were. Also, one other thing I will mention before I do move on is that you can also, and this applies like if you have Mega Database along with ChessBase, which I'll get to in a moment, you can press the Enter, and what it's going to do, as you can see, is it's going to give you the online database. So say if I go ahead to this position here, you can see that there's like a lot of high level games being sorted to the top. Like it's not just taking the most recent games, but it's kind of combining like the highest rated games with the ones that are most recent. It's going to be the most topical for more advanced players. And you can also see, yeah, like different model games. Like you can play through, like click a game and then play through the game and sort of see how it played out and draw your own conclusions. So you can kind of see then how that all sort of fits together in terms of your training. You can also easily drag and drop games. So for example, you might drag that Serrano Duda game or whichever one it was that we looked at, and it'll just add it to it very conveniently in that way. You can sort of add more of these games to kind of like get a feel for the positions and like kind of seeing how they sort of play out in a sense. So that just like to give you a bit of a feel for how it kind of looks in practice. And with that, I think we can move on to more like how to organize the databases, just help you to get the most out of ChessBase. So we're back to the home page now, and I'm going to suggest that it'll be best for you to create the following few databases. Now, if you're a grandmaster like me, you may be find that you're able to sort of organize yourself in the chaos, like have lots of different things in one piece, in different places, you can kind of see how it all fits together. But especially for those of you who are sort of starting out with databases or maybe aren't a professional player, then you're definitely going to want to have it very neatly organized. And so the thing is with the mega database, that's basically going to give you your reference database. Now, if you do want to save a lot of money, you can just get the ChessBase program and just use a free online database you download from somewhere. For example, the Week in Chess is one resource that you can use to kind of update your database every week, as it were, to make sure that the recent high-level games are in there. So what you want to do is with Mega Database, just going to right-click it, and you're just going to want to make sure that it's set to your reference database. So I'm just ticking it right now. I don't think you can see it right away, but basically you'll kind of notice when I tick it that's off the... Okay, maybe the icon's not changing in this version. It normally changed in the older version of ChessBase, because I just, I just bought this program, like I'm playing around with, just as you're seeing it here. But it will mean that when you have it as a reference, that you'll be able to do different searches and it'll allow you to just immediately kind of access the most relevant games rather than, having to like try to fiddle around within the database to see how it works. But that'll be, your reference database. The other two I'll kind of get to a bit later, but basically the first database you'll want to create, I'm just going to click New just to set that up. You're not going to see the resultant pop up, but basically I'm going to create a database. Let me just move it to this folder here. The first one's basically going to be My Games. And actually, you may want to sort of separate this between your over-the-board games and your online games if you are a tournament player. So you'll see I just created this database, My Over-the-Board Games, where every time you play a tournament game, you can just input your game in there, save it, and then you're just going to have that database just for all of your games, where you can then, revisit your games later. You can analyze, with the engine or, just with your own mind. And it'll help you to learn much more from the games than if you were just, just playing games or trying to keep them like in a written format like it was in the pre-computer era. And then from there, you could also have a separate database for your online games. Now, if you want to download your online games really conveniently, a very simple approach can just be to go to openingtree.com. This is a free site, by the way. You can search your username from chess.com or Chess and just download all your games in one go. From there, once with white and once with black. And that'll be a very easy way for you to keep your games up to date. And then by putting them all in the one database from there, it'll just allow you to very clearly see, what games you played, what openings you're strong in, which ones you're maybe struggling in a bit more, among other things. So it'll just be a really nice way to organize your games and make sure that the online games don't kind of get mixed in with the over-the-board games, because that might be a little bit confusing in terms of drawing the right conclusions from said games. And then the other main database you're going to want to create are the white repertoire and black repertoire ones. And the nice thing with ChessBase, you can actually set these repertoire databases accordingly. So I'm just going to create like repertoire white and repertoire black just to kind of show you what I mean here. You'll kind of see them, come up in due course. Again, doing this just for the sake of demonstration. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on repertoire white. And then after I right click it, I'm going to go to properties once again at the bottom. Again, you're not going to see this, but you can basically have an icon there where you can mark it as repertoire white. And you might notice, okay, it's a very subtle, but you might notice the icon maybe change a little bit accordingly. And as for repertoire black, yeah, you can do a similar thing where you mark it as repertoire black, and I'll just make it easy to follow along as such. So I just took a moment just to go into properties, just to make sort of the icons unique, just so you can kind of visually see sort of the differences between the databases, because as you have more databases, it may be a bit harder to find the one you're looking for quickly. So these icons just help you to organize it. You can see how like over the board it has, like My Games signal icon. Online Games has the internet icon. And then the white and black have the different swords, the white sword and the black sword to indicate the difference between the white and the black databases. Now, I'm not going to go so deeply into the specifics of how the repertoire database works, but essentially what happens is it will give you, basically you'll put in your repertoire moves that you like to play with white and with black, so your basic repertoire. And then as you download new games each week, what it'll do is it'll basically update your repertoire by including the new games that fit within the variation you've selected, and it'll be a way for you to basically keep your repertoire up to date by just seeing those new games as they come in accordingly. So it just makes things really easy for you to, pick out the key games from your mega database to help you understand your openings and play them at a much higher level. Again, if you're sort of like just starting out with chess or just start with database, this might be like a little bit overwhelming, but it's just to explain a little bit how it works for the more advanced students looking to take their openings and their chess to that sort of, master level and beyond. So to conclude, for those who want to either get into ChessBase at the cheapest price possible, or you already have a reference database that you're kind of happy to use within ChessBase, then yeah, you may just buy the ChessBase program by itself. It does mean you're not going to have access to that online database feature I showed you, so it will be harder for you to find model games, but it can be a way to kind of like dip your feet in without a massive initial investment, because as you will see when you go to the ChessBase shop site, even with the 25% discount, this is why it's somewhat pricier program. And while I definitely believe it's absolutely worth it, I understand that for some of you, your financial situation might be such where you may, prefer to go for one of the cheaper options and sort of, just save money that way. But next up, I do want to talk about Mega Database. So I'm just going to click that database you can see inside it. So just so you know, with Mega Database, which I have open here, there is a feature where you are able to update it each week with new games. Something I will mention, I just tried to update it with the first new games update just now. Unfortunately, it did crash my laptop and or crash my program and I had to restart it. So just letting you know that, yeah, when you sort of first get ChessBase, it is true that there will be some technical problems for the first few weeks as they update the program. But they also do release like quite consistent updates to sort of fix the different features, and they do have a support as well that I've asked them before and have got pretty good answers within 1 to 2 days. So just letting you know that help is kind of there to deal with some of the sort of initial kinks in the new program, as it were. It's not really going to show up, but basically they have a text where you can't see it's like a grey screen because it's not showing due to some glitch. But it has sort of different features where you can kind of access to get different aspects of the game's database. For example, a really nice thing about the Mega database is it has a very large number of annotated games. I remember the last year's one had about 80,000 annotated games. This one probably to have like even more, like maybe even close to. Well, it says here it has like more than 114,000 annotated games. That's obviously a much larger collection of what you can find anywhere else in that sense. And with that, also have different aspects. We can look up different top tournaments like world championships and so forth. So you can really like focus on particular players. Like for example, like with this set of games, it might look quite overwhelming. The idea, of course, is not just to like go through the games one by one, but to really filter it to find exactly what you're looking for. For example, if I press Control F, let's say I look up the games of Magnus Carlsen. You can't see the search mask right now, but it's basically like a filter coming out with lots of different features. And let's say I search for his games played in the French defense, so ECO code of C00 to C19. That's what the ECO means. And then you go in to see that's going to bring up a lot of his games. So yeah, it brings up a few of his games and he was just starting out in chess. But you can see like you now have like a lot of games by the best player in the world of how to play the French defense with either color. And you can also sort these, like here it is kind of sorted already in the chronological order, but for example, you could sort the games by the ELO by clicking ELO white. If I just change the column so it also shows the ELO average, you could also sort it by, the games you play against high-rated opponents like Caruana, Grishuk, and Nakamura, and so forth. So it's a way where you can sort of even sort within that search in order to find exactly examples you're looking for. You can also search for individual positions as well. The way you're going to do that is you're just going to want to create a board window, and then from there you can then search and then find the games from that position. I do think that the online database feature is a bit more efficient for that. That's kind of why I showed it before. But the point is you can use it very easily to find games different players. Another way it also can be, as we'll see here with the different tabs like players, tournaments, annotator, etc. You can also go to the players tab. And what you'll see here is it brings up all different players. So let's say, for example, you're playing against me tomorrow and you want to prepare against me. You can search up my name and you'll see my games I played in different tournaments. You can then click on the prepare versus white or prepare against black feature, depending on what color, that I'll be playing against you. It's like a bit counterintuitive, but basically if you're playing with the black pieces, you click prepare against white to look at my white games, and vice versa. If you're white against me, you check my black games, so you click prepare against black. I mean, it'll make sense pretty easily from that. And you'll see there are some unique features like, find lead chess account, which can help you to find, the game online accounts, different players, to just take it to that next level. There's also things like dossiers as well, which kind of just bring up, the openings which players score better or worse in. So it's just quite nice for that. You can use it either for your preparation or for, learning about the games of a particular expert in something you want to work on, where it's a Korchnoi for the French defense, Karpov for opposite colored bishop endings. You can find all of that within Mega Database if you kind of know where to sort of search. And yeah, I understand there's a bit of a process stat, it takes a bit of fiddling around and exploring it to kind of find where different things work together. But basically, this is just to give you like the basics of the different features. And at the end of the day, the better the quality of your reference database, the better the quality of the material. And also, like if we do click on a game like to maybe this one's a bit of a better example, but let's say if I click this one, I kind of move to the so I've just sort of shifted the game window just so you can kind of see like what the annotation look like. Like obviously I'm not going to click through every single one of them because it'd kind of break copyright, but you can kind of see like how some of these annotations look within Mega Database because basically one of the packages they offer, like they offer free packages and the cheapest one is the starter package. So with the starter package, it's going to give you the ChessBase program and it's going to give you all of the games in Mega Database or in Big Database is what they call it. But the difference is that in the starter package, none of these games are going to be annotated. So you're not going to get to read through these annotations, which, by the way, are by Magnus Carlsen himself in this game. So it gives you a chance to kind of learn from the thought process of, these really great chess players, as it were, when they talk about their own games. Now, to be fair, most of the games are annotated by someone other than the players, but they still, make that effort in a lot of those cases to kind of explain the ideas of the moves and not just variations, so that you can really kind of understand the positions and the moves at a much deeper level. I know for myself as a chess coach that one of the very common struggles that a lot of players have when trying to improve is that, they're looking at these master or grandmaster games and maybe struggling a little bit to kind of understand why different moves were played or, what would happen in case of some alternative. And these annotations really make that process a lot easier for you. And it's just a lot cheaper and more efficient than, trying to, have 140,000 annotate games across a range of books. Like you'd be spending, probably tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a similar quantity of annotated games that way. Here, you just get all in one place for a very small fraction of what it would cost otherwise. Now, for most people, I would say that if you're like, say, rated below 2000 FIDE, you probably can just get by just with the starter package. That will be cheaper for you and will still allow you to have access to all the games. But if you are someone who is trying to get to a master or, is already a chess master, then I would recommend the mega packages being a better option, just so you get those game analyses, which really like compared with the comparison of price, like it's not that huge of a price difference, but you just get so much more value from having those games analyzed so that, when you're learning them, you can just immediately go to the annotated games and just learn the key ideas that way, rather than having to try to figure it all out yourself just from the database output. Another nice thing as well about the Mega Package, I would need to check the details, but I do recall that with the Mega Package you do also get the ChessBase magazine, and for those of you who maybe haven't seen it before, you might be wondering, well, why exactly is this important? So I'm just going to take a moment just kind of show you a little bit of what it kind of looks like from the inside, just a little bit of sample of the most recent one. Unfortunately, the ChessBase magazine, like it doesn't show the text when I kind of open it here on the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of talk a little bit more generally about the different kind of things you'll find within it. So basically, it'll sort of have a series of different chess content on a range of different topics. They'll really help you to kind of guide your chess training, just getting that insight from various trainers, grandmasters, strong IMs, and so forth. And to just give an example of some of the sections, basically there are many annotated games by some of the top players in the world expressing their thought process, which means again it can allow you to kind of update your mega database with more annotated games without having to wait for the next year for them to come. Also, there are a lot of different opening articles where different opening surveys help you really play different openings at a much higher level. There are a lot of different training positions as well, a lot of different resources too on things like tactics, strategy, end games, and so forth. So it really is just kind of just a representation of just all the key games that were played in the last couple of months, along with various instructional, you could say, articles and training to help you, kind of guide your chess improvement. In terms of ChessBase magazine, I will admit it's one I've kind of more written for in the past and really studied so deeply myself. But I do find, yeah, that the material is of a generally pretty good quality. It's quite well curated with a lot of different examples. The annotations are usually, reasonably, insightful as well. So again, it just kind of gives you that sort of, not just relying on the current database, giving you that follow up every couple of months to help you, continue kind of improving and having like new material to work through rather than just being stuck with the same thing the whole time. And finally, if you do get the premium package, which is more expensive than the mega package, well, that's going to give you the correspondence database, which basically works very similarly to mega database. So I won't bother like clicking on and showing on the inside, but it is like a very large number of games. Like if I scroll to the very bottom, you'll see it's like, yeah, like 2.5 million correspondence games. And as I kind of put it before, the reason that the correspondence games are quite useful to have if you are a more advanced player, say 200 plus FIDE, so already a titled player, the reason they're important is because they really help you to understand the opening theory, because these players are playing based on extremely deep engine analysis, where they have several days to figure out what move they'll play on each turn. And so it's just going to give you a really clear insight of what are the objectively best moves to play in a given position. In the case the older correspondence games might also show you how to punish some weaker moves that maybe it hasn't become common knowledge why those moves are bad, like in over the board play. But the correspondence games kind of allow you to sort of be up to date with the most recent theory even before it becomes common knowledge over the board. So that's the main way in which it kind of helps just to make sure your openings are really watertight and don't have any holes that maybe the engine at a lower depth might not pick up on otherwise. But with that, that pretty much concludes my demonstration of the ChessBase program. As I said at the start of this video, it is 25% off, but only for today. So if you have been sort of on the fence of like whether to get this program or whether to make a database, this is probably the best time to get in because yeah, it's a 25% discount, which won't, at least to my knowledge, sort of be offered elsewhere. Anyway, I don't really have any kind of like, let's say side incentive to be promoting this. Like, it's not like I'm getting any like affiliate commission or anything by doing this. It's just I really believe in the chess-based product. I really believe, in giving you, informing others of this opportunity to get this program at a cheaper price than it would be available at any other time. So yeah, that's basically all the key things to know. You'll get the chess-based program. You'll get, the reference database. It'll vary depending on what package you get. You'll get that, the chess-based program, the reference database, the chess-based magazine, and if you want it, like say if you're 200 plus, then you can also get the correspondence database as well for a little bit extra. So that's about all from me. Do let me know in the comments below what you personally enjoyed about this demonstration of ChessBase. And for what it's worth, I will mention, like, even if you do decide not to get ChessBase and you decide, just continue using free resources like LeadChess or QChess.net, the same principles I've shared here will still help you to use those tools more effectively. It's just going to be a lot easier and a lot faster for you if you do it with ChessBase, which is a tool, that pretty much all the grandmasters and, all the basically serious chess players kind of use in that sense. So, yeah, enjoy it, and I will see you in the next training. Take care.